So many people out there are just trapped in like a laziness cycle. They wake up at 12 or 1, immediately check their phone, start scrolling, and by the time you know it, it's been 30 minutes, they're in bed, they're sleep deprived, and now it's time to start the day. And it ends up continuing this cycle because if they woke up late, then they go to bed late. What does that mean? That means that they're still spending more time doing stuff that doesn't matter, and it creates this vicious cycle. It's almost addicting, though. Your body develops this comfort level, and because you've done this for so long, and this is now your cycle, every single day you wake up at this time, and you go to bed at this time, and you do these habits. It creates this cycle that's sort of your baseline, your normal, what you're meant to do. And because of that, every single time you try to break past that, you try to go to the gym, stay consistent with meditation, cold showers, eat a better diet, your body still realize that its comfort zone is over here. So when you try to go away, it's going to pull you back down to your comfort zone. And that's all because you've essentially trained your body to realize what's comfortable through habits, through bad habits. And you can do the same with good habits. And this is exactly why when you try to start good habits, you end up inevitably going back to square one. You try something so hard, but no matter how hard you try, you always somehow get sapped back into that bad state. You don't have to be there forever, though. I remember when my cycle was horrible. If you're thinking of summer break when, you might be so young where you don't have a job yet, but you're not in school. I was waking up at like 12, 1 or 2 even, sometimes 2 p.m. And the first thing I do would be grab a coffee, of course, from downstairs, put a ton of creamer in it with a ton of sugar and milk, and then I'd hop on my computer and immediately start playing video games. I gave myself no time to do anything else. And I'd play CSGO, I'd play Valorant, I'd play Fortnite, Rocket League. And after about 6 hours, you do it so much that your dopamine is so fried, you're never spending more than 30 minutes on one game at a time. And I didn't want to go outside, because the whole day I spent inside playing video games, and the thought of having to talk to people was so tough. And to go outside and push myself to do something as simple as go for a walk. But I was trapped. My body created this environment, created this space that is like my natural habitat. And if I would try to go out of that natural habitat, like even as far as talking to someone, my mind would be elsewhere. I'd be thinking of other things. I was never present in a conversation. And this is what I see so many adults get into. If we're talking about people in their 20s, I'm 20 years old right now. And I know people that are my age, and they're trapped in this cycle. They go to university, so they have a bit of structure, but outside of that, they wake up late enough, but not too late, where they can still get to school on time, but do nothing productive in the day. They finish their school, maybe do some homework, smoke weed, jerk off, play video games, just delay it until the next day. Try to stay as comfortable as possible. And that has now created a cycle for them. And this is why people are so unmotivated and undisciplined nowadays. Is because they've made this cycle that is so comfortable to live in that every single time they try to do something that is slightly uncomfortable, like going to the gym or trying their hand at a new business model or anything like that, it's so uncomfortable, it is almost unbearable for them to even think about doing. They don't call it lazy, they call it unmotivated. One of my friends who actually has therapy meetings, he said that his therapist one time said, whenever you're feeling lazy, don't say that you're lazy. Say that you're unmotivated. I'm sure that's because this therapist spends his time with a lot of, teenagers who aren't actually disciplined. But it's just unbelievable to me that the norm is that if you're unmotivated, it's okay. It's like discipline doesn't even play a role here. People think that if you are unmotivated, you don't do anything. Meaning that when they are in their comfortable habitat and they are motivated to eat junk food and they're motivated to sleep in, they will never do anything that is unmotivating to them because that is not their normal and they don't do that every day. There's something that you can do that you can literally train your body to become disciplined. And that's if you break your cycle. And now if your cycle is waking up at 5 a.m. every single day, you are doing something every day that requires discipline. By waking up early when you aren't forced to. This doesn't count if you go to school and you are required to wake up earlier. You have a job that starts at 5 in the morning and you have to wake up at 3. That doesn't make you disciplined. That just makes you like a normal person. But let's say on a weekend, if you tell yourself that you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, and you do that, then you are training your body to do something that requires discipline. Meaning that when you transfer that to other things in life, it's much easier because it's a normal environment. It's an environment that's familiar to the body. Maybe you are in this laziness cycle that is addiction. It really is addiction because every single day you go back to it and you almost feel like you can't live life without this cycle that you have. So how do you break this addiction? How do you stop your body from trying to snap you back every single time you pull away and try to become better? You do this by forming new habits. Habits are formed after about 14 days of repetitive action. Meaning if you do something for 14 days in a row, it becomes a habit, essentially. So what is something that you can do that is slightly uncomfortable that you can keep up for 14 days? And that if you do it for 14 days, you'll receive some sort of benefit. Just changing your routine slightly and implementing something that is uncomfortable means that your body is now familiar to the feeling of things that are uncomfortable. And you can use that same feeling that you have towards things that are uncomfortable in other things. Oh, I can do 100 cold calls. Yeah, that feels uncomfortable, but I took a cold shower earlier today, and that felt really uncomfortable. And I went to the gym, and that felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to work out that day, and I woke up early. You see, you can stack these habits on top of each other. These uncomfortable habits, you stack as much of those on top of each other, and that is exactly how you build discipline. And that is exactly how you break out of a laziness addiction cycle, is by stacking good habits. You can also set weekly goals to keep yourself accountable. Every single week, tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times this week, without doubt. And if you accomplish that, one of those days you're not going to feel like you want to go to the gym, but you did it anyways. So you're building a disciplined habit right there. That's one stacked habit. I'm going to take a cold shower every day this week. Probably 5 out of 5 of those cold showers you will feel unmotivated for. That's another habit that you've stacked right there. I'm going to wake up early 5 days this week. That's another one. Just stack as many of these as possible. And I'm telling you, it builds a completely new persona. Pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone like that is fantastic, especially when you have like an end goal in mind. Obviously, life is life. You don't have an end goal. You've only got the present moment today. But if you have something that you're pushing towards, that you are doing actionable steps every single day for, then that will naturally force you to push yourself outside your comfort zone, especially if that one thing that you're pushing for is so much higher than your usual standard. Then your body is almost going to seek the things that can get you to that standard. Your body's going to understand, I'm going to have to do things that are beyond my current capabilities to get to that position that is so incredibly high. And by doing that, you're almost going to be seeking out these activities that are uncomfortable. You're going to know what is needed to be done, and then from there, you're going to be able to take action. But taking action is going to be possible because now you have trained your body to be disciplined and to actually enjoy doing the hard stuff. Or maybe not enjoy doing the hard stuff, but at least your body's going to be familiar to the feeling of doing hard things, and it won't seem as impossible as you once thought.